So I'd like to begin today by telling a little story about a friend. We'll call him Jim. Keep him anonymous for today. So a couple years ago, the summer before I came to Vanderbilt, Jim and I were walking around my neighborhood in Buffalo on a Saturday morning. Jim and I hadn't seen each other in a while, so we were taking the chance to catch up. And somewhere between our conversation about whether the Buffalo Bills were finally going to make the playoffs that year, they didn't, by the way, and whether we thought that colleges really had parties every weekend, they did, by the way, I noticed something strange. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Jim stop in his tracks and bend over to pick something up. And when I look to see what it is, I see him come back up with this crumpled up Starbucks coffee cup in his hand. And I stop and I say, Jim, what are you doing? Why are you picking up trash right now? And so Jim gets his smile slowly spreading across his face. You can tell he's been waiting for me to ask this question. And he looks over to me and he says, Dan, it's a metaphor. If everybody went through their lives taking a couple seconds out of their day to pick up the trash they came across on a daily basis, the world would be a much cleaner place. So my name is Dan Rubin, and today I'm not here to talk to you about trash collection, or pollution in the state of New York, or even about the Buffalo Bills and how they still haven't made the playoffs. Today I'm here to talk to you about something much more important: kindness. What is it? What can it do? And how can we use this concept and implement it into our lives on a daily basis? Merriam-Webster defines the term as having or showing a gentle nature or a desire to help others. A desire to help others. I want you guys to think about that for a second. What does that mean to you? I want you to think about the past year or two of your life and how kindness, either given or received, has impacted you and led you to where you are today. Generally, when I give that prompt, I get 3 different classes of kindness, we'll call them, that people come up with. So the first one is these large-scale commitments, right? And we're pretty good at this here at Vanderbilt. Every spring break, we send over 400 kids around the hemisphere who are willing to give up their week off to help somebody else. It actually started right here as well. But see, me, I'm more concerned not about the incredible impact that they have on that 1 week of the year, but what do they do the other 51 weeks of the year to keep that impact going? And so that brings us to our second class of kindness, this community service that we hear so much about. We're also pretty good at this here at Vanderbilt. We've got 68 service organizations on campus. Each one sends out emails either on a weekly or a monthly basis telling you about all these great service opportunities. And we get these emails, and I don't know about you, but I get excited. I'm like, yeah, what can I do this week, right? But it's kind of ironic that we call them service opportunities, as if we need an invitation to go out and serve others, as if the opportunity to be kind and exhibit kindness is this treasure that only appears once or twice a week. We sit around waiting for these opportunities to come to us when really we should be going out and pursuing them on our own. And that brings me to the third class of kindness, these day-to-day acts of kindness. Generally, if you've heard the term random acts of kindness, it gets thrown around a lot. This is what it's referring to: the compliments, lending out a hand when a friend is in need, patting someone on the back and saying, you know what, it's going to be okay. So these types of kindness, this is what I'm going to talk most about tonight. How can we go about in our lives and make every day a service opportunity? What if I told you that every morning when you woke up, every day when you walked to class, every night when you came back home, you have the opportunity to serve others and to have a positive impact on the world? You have the chance to do as Jim suggested and clean up the world one piece of trash at a time, day by day. So first things first, though. I can tell already, there's a couple of you sitting out there like, all right, I've got a million things on my plate already. It's midterm week. I cannot possibly add another thing on top of this. Why should I go ahead and convert to this lifestyle of kindness, right? So there's a couple of reasons, right? And as you can see on the board behind me, I've got them listed just in case anybody's dozing off a little bit. So number 1, kindness is effective. Number 2, it's easy. And number 3, it's actually contagious. So let's go through this a little bit. Kindness is effective. There was a study done in 2004 by PhD psychologists from Harvard, John Seaton and Robert Gass, who studied waitresses in the restaurant environment. And the one group of waitresses, we'll call them Group A, they said, just go about your business as normal. The second group, they said, do that except for one minor exception. When the customer orders their food, compliment them on it. Chicken Parmesan, great choice. Black Angus burger, couldn't have picked anything better. And at the end of the experiment, the difference between Group A and Group B received 13% more money in tips than Group A had. One simple compliment at every meal about the food choice had that much of an impact on the customer experience. And if we think about it in our lives, it actually makes a lot of sense. Think about the last time someone came up to you and said, hey, your hair is awesome today. you're a great person. And, on the outside, we're like, oh, shucks, like, no way. But on the inside, you've got this euphoria. You're like, yes, somebody appreciates me for who I am. And it feels great. So if I told you that you could, in 4 or 5 words, change the course of someone's day for the better, wouldn't you do it? But not only is kindness effective, we've established that, it's actually also very easy. Because I talked about it. We have a lot going on. We have too many classes, too much homework, too many meetings, too much of everything, except for the one thing we actually need more of, which is time. We don't have enough time, which you can tell probably by the bags under my eyes or the 2 kids sleeping in the back row. Just kidding. Nobody's back there. But we don't have enough time. So the question becomes, how much time does it take to be kind? So we're actually going to do a little exercise to figure this out. Can I have a volunteer from the audience who has a phone with a timer on it? All right, so I want you to get out this timer. Very simple. When I say go, press start. When I say stop, I'm going to have you stop it and tell us what the time is.
Give me a second.
All right, no problem. I'll put you on the spot here. Nice. Everybody clap for him. Confidence. I like it. I like it. All right, ready? Set. Go. You in the striped shirt. What's your name? Elizabeth, you have incredible hair. Whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. You in the 4th row in the red shirt. What's your name? Chris. Your smile just lights up this room. You inspire me to be happy. You in the 4th row in the striped shirt. What's your name? Matt, you look like you have the most dazzling personality. I want to get to know you. Stop the timer. How much time?
22 seconds.
22 seconds. In 22 seconds, I was able to compliment 3 people. How do you guys feel right now? Not bad, right? Pretty good? Yes. I was able to make 3 people feel really good about themselves, and it took me 22 seconds. We all have crazy schedules. But you think you have 20 seconds every day to make people feel good about themselves? The last thing about kindness is not only is it effective, not only is it easy, but it's actually contagious. There was a study done in 2004 by a lady named Jen Sheng at Indiana University. And she determined that if people saw other people enacting acts of kindness, they were actually more likely to go out and do the same themselves. It's this ripple effect. One starting point creates this huge spark that spreads across the population. What I'm trying to say is that every one of us has the chance to act as this epicenter of impact for just a couple seconds a day, to shake the world with the power of kindness. Every one of us has the chance to go out there and change the entire population with just a single gesture or a single kind word at a time. How cool is that? So moving on, we've established that it works, right? It's easy and it spreads among us. So the question now is, if it's so powerful, if we've had all this power brimming at our fingertips this entire time, what are we doing? Why are we not using this, right? So to be fair, there's actually a real answer to that question. It's this idea of futility thinking. Futility thinking is the idea that as a society, we've been challenged to accept this idea that if we can't have a huge impact on a problem, if we can't just create this sweeping change, it's not worth us having an impact at all. And there was a study done in 1997 by a man named David Featherstone, great name by the way, at Harvard University, who determined that if you ask 2 groups of people to donate money to Rwandan refugees, right, and you tell group A and group B they're both going to expect 1,500 people with their money, right? But the difference is you tell group A 1,500 Rwandan refugees is only 5% of the population. You tell group B that it's 10% of the population. Group B actually donates more money to this cause, even though you're affecting the same number of people. We're conditioned as a society to think that our proportional impact on a problem is more important than our actual impact, which if you think about it, doesn't really make that much sense. And if we transition that into how kindness works, we kind of get the same idea. I think we hesitate a lot of times to say something nice or do something nice because we think, the minor impact it might have is nothing compared to the larger problem at hand. But is that true? There's a quote from the Dalai Lama, who once said, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. To that I say, if you're too small, if you think you're too small to make a difference, consider this. Monday, March 15th, 2010. It was the day after my first ever girlfriend became my first ever ex-girlfriend. Not a great time in my life. So I'm walking through the halls that Monday morning, head down, doing my thing, When out of nowhere, my friend Allie Loescher runs up to me and gives me this big hug and says 2 words, "I'm sorry." And it took 3 seconds of physical contact and just 2 words of encouragement to snap me out of it and make me realize I still have great people in my life. Fast forward down the road, January 11th, 2012. 2 months after my mother had been diagnosed with breast cancer, 2 weeks after a major operation in the course of her treatment. I don't generally like to project my problems onto others, so I hadn't told most of my friends about this issue. And yet out of nowhere on this Wednesday, this brisk, snowy January Wednesday, my friend Katie Zimmerman texted me. Said, "Dan, I just wanted to let you know, I know we don't usually tell you this, but I really appreciate having you as a friend." And just like that, it took her 140 characters and one tap of the send button to drain the stress out of my life and replace it with the happiness that I've been ignoring for so long. If you think that you're too small to make a difference, think again. Remember that every single gesture and every simple word of kindness has the chance to change somebody's life. And so from there, we go into strategies. We say, okay, kindness works. We know how to get around the barriers to kindness now. How do we actually go about taking this concept and doing what Jim says, making it an everyday process that we go piece by piece? So the first thing is I think we hesitate a lot to say stuff, and we hesitate a lot to do stuff because we don't want to step outside these social boundaries, right? You hear the phrase thrown around a lot, I don't want to be that guy, or like that girl, I guess, if we're being equal here. I didn't think that joke was going to work. So the first strategy that I'm going to tell you about being kind on a daily basis, be that guy or that girl. Don't be afraid to step out of the social boundaries. If you've got something nice to say about someone, say it to them. Don't hold back. We never seem to hold back with the negative stuff. Why do we hold back with the positives, right? So if you think it's weird to go up to a stranger and say, "Hey, I really like your outfit today," is it strange? Is it really weird? It might be downright absurd. But if it's what they need to hear, that makes all the difference. When you pass by a piece of trash on the ground, are you going to leave it there? No. Be that guy and pick it up. The next strategy, once we've learned how to actually do things that are kind, how do we look for opportunities to be that guy? And so this is a little concept, a little strategy I like to call, put on your impact lenses. Think about every day when you pass by hundreds of people, you walk down all these different paths, end up in all these different locations. What if all along every one of those instances has been a chance to leave your mark on the world? We just haven't been looking in the right places. So we go ahead, we put on our impact lenses, and voila, it changes. So what does this look like? Let's take a look at an example. You're sitting in a booth at Rand late at night, something that I occasionally partake in, and you see this black box with napkins in it, right? Just a casual napkin holder doing its thing. But you put on your impact glasses, and what do you see? You look over, and you see the chance to do something huge. You take a napkin, you pull out a pen, and you write down on this piece of paper, "I know you might be having a rough day, but you're doing a great job. Keep it up," right? And you pick up the napkins again, you slip it in there, and the next day, the next week, maybe next month, depending on how often they change these napkins, somebody's going to find that note. And just like that, your positive impact has begun. And the cool thing is these opportunities are everywhere, whether it's smiling at a stranger on the way to class, whether it's using an extra side at the Munchie Mart to donate something to charity, whether it's leaving an extra quarter in the vending machine when you leave. Once you start looking for things, they pop up everywhere you look. And the best part about impact glasses, they're absolutely 100% free. Actually, you all already have them. You just have to take them out, put them on, and you'll be blown away by how it changes the way you look at the world. So, Vanderbilt, / like 100 people in this room, today I challenge you with a call to action, if you will. Today I call upon each of you in the audience to rise above these perpetual existences of ignorance and complacency and transcend to these lives of fulfillment and kindness. Today I call upon you to go out there and grab the world and look for these ways to have your own impact. I call upon you not necessarily to remember every word that I've said today or every study that I've cited. I don't even think I remember all of those. No. Instead, remember Allie and how with one hug she was able to pull her friend from the gloomy depths of despair. Remember Katie and how her one text message was able to drain all of the stress out of a friend's life and remind them what happiness was like. Remember every tough situation you've been in, and every friend, family member, stranger, or acquaintance whose random minor act of kindness brought you back into the game and restored your faith in humanity. When you leave this room tonight, remember that you are not too small to make a difference in the lives of those around you. When you leave this room tonight, I want you all to get up, to take out your impact lenses, put them on, and go out there and do exactly what Jim said. Start cleaning up the world, one piece of trash at a time. Thank you very much.